So like I briefly mentioned last week, the 375 aquarium is now here in the aquarium gallery. And in today's video, I want to talk about the plans for the 375, but also cover the importance of it being in the aquarium gallery in the first place. Now, the initial plans were to put my ultimate blood red Asian Arowana in the 375, and I have to admit right up front, he was going to get the 375 gallon aquarium because one, he's going to grow into a very big fish, and the 375 is going to house him for quite a while. He's too small to go in with the big Asian Arowana in the 2,000 gallon aquarium, yet I didn't really have anywhere else I could put him. So I was thinking almost by default he has to go in the 375. But then a light bulb came on. You see, one day I want him to come out here into the 2,000 gallon aquarium. Again, he's just too small to come in here right now. He needs about another year of growth. And over the course of a year, I'll most likely have some other fish in here. The plants are going to grow in tremendously, and I'm very confident that in about a year's time, he'll do just fine in here. But if I gave him the 375, even if it's just for a year, that means a couple of things. Imagine this fish being in here. One, he can't really go with other fish that do really well in a planted tank because they will become a little bit of a snack for him. Two, it would end up being kind of a boring tank, even though very unique, and there's not very many planted aquariums with Asian Arowana. I just feel we could do so much more with this tank than dedicating it to him. So where could I put the little Asian Arowana? Well, it just so happens that directly across from this tank is another 120. You see, this tank right here in the racking system, this 120, is directly across from the 2000. Now, he'll do absolutely amazing in the 120 for at least a year, and this will give me lots of time to grow him out. And, you know, we'll even do escape in here with a nice background. But I thought, let's dedicate one of these tanks to the Asian Arowana and even allow them to look at each other. So I think that's going to be the plan, and I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on that. However, that leaves the 375 wide open for some pretty exciting plans. What are they? Well, don't judge the tank for what it is right now. You see, there's a few pieces, or actually quite a lot of pieces, of manzanita, raw manzanita wood dropped into the tank right now. Literally just dropped. It's not positioned how it's going to be. I just wanted to get a visual on the size compared to the tank. There's about, 7 or 8 large pieces in here, just stacked in there. I wanted to see how long they were, but this will give you a generic idea of what I'm going for. I would like to have a bunch of manzanita wood come out to maybe, 3/4 of the tank's length. I'd love to have it covered in mosses. I'd love to have some lush plants in the back, and I'd love to have maybe some carpet plants out front, leaving the front end of it wide open. Now, there's a lot of work to do on this tank, including removing some scratches that occurred when we moved the tank in here, which I'm going to show you how it happened in a minute. And, just generally cleaning it up. Plus, I've got to plumb it, get the sump running, and everything up and running. Then we can move on to hardscaping. But what are we going to stock it with? Well, that's truly where this gets pretty exciting, because I thought, what would really be mind-blowing in here, especially for myself? And what's a fish that I've wanted to keep by the hundreds? Now, I know it's tough to envision a lot of the things I show you at first, and you guys got to be patient and wait for things to happen, but imagine 400, maybe 500 rainbow fish in this tank. Of course, I'd add some smaller fish to the bottom, maybe some fancy plecos. I'd like to do some corydora, maybe some algae eaters of some type, but I can just picture this tank filled with life, and we have such a massive filtration system that it's entirely capable of handling whatever type of bioload I want to throw at it, so we can really go nuts with this tank and get really creative. I would love to hear your thoughts on the plans. Clearly nothing has happened yet, so we have time to discuss this, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, I love reading them, whether they're ridiculous, they're funny, or you've got some good ideas. There's always one little, gem in the comment section that truly has an impact on my videos, and I hope one of you guys gets it this week. Okay. We heard the plans of the tank. What's the significance, Joey? You see, it's tough for me to watch this video, but one of my last times in the old garage was I just took a short video of the conditions I used to film in. The 375 is going to serve as a reminder of where we came from. for those that have been following me for a very long time, I like to do a lot of the things myself. And you know, that's not the best way to do a lot of these projects because, for example, this 375 gallon weighs several hundred pounds, and I went ahead and put it on the stand by myself. And what I didn't show in that video was I actually got hurt. I pulled a muscle in my buttocks, I guess we'll call it. And after the video was done, I collapsed to the floor. I recovered pretty quickly, but that was just too much weight for one person. So when shutting this tank down eventually, I knew that I wanted it to come out here to, you know, symbolize where we've come from, and, you know, being the last big tank we built, I thought it'd be special to incorporate it. We realized that we could probably carry this alone. However, we were tired from moving tanks all day, so we moved the tank down onto the floor, ripped apart the stand because I had already built another stand out here. The old stand would not fit up the stairs or out my door, so I had to take that apart. I salvaged some of it. But then we had a few friends come over. I got Mason, Jamie, and Gary to come over and help us move it, and the move went much smoother with many people.
Oh, is that all the plant stuff that he's putting in?
This is so awesome because we're getting this done now, so I don't have to come up anytime other than like through the week to help him move big heavy tanks.
Why'd you stop talking when I came in, Gary?
But this is me sitting at my desk here. Look at my view. Isn't this amazing? Please excuse the mess out here for a moment, but as you can see, as you walk in, the 2000 is lined up perfectly with the 375. Once all these tanks are all up and running, they're gonna look amazing. But when we walk in here, 375 is kind of what separates me from the tanks, a little room divider. And like I said, there's a few more pieces out here. So the 2,000 gallon aquarium was pretty awesome. I mean, it's a massive tank. It's really impressive to say the least. And we've got some really amazing stocking in there with, you know, Asian Arowana, freshwater stingrays, and Frank. But the 375 is going to hit a little closer to home for you, a lot of you. Again, the Asian Arowana would have been cool, but I think many more of you will relate to having some rainbow fish. And even though maybe you'll only have 5, 6, 7 in your tanks, I want to give you an idea of what it's like and what's possible with bigger tanks. Just because it's a big tank doesn't mean we have to go big fish. But I should point out the fact that this will be the biggest tank with the smallest fish I've ever done. But 120s, 4x2x2, are arguably my favorite sized manufactured aquarium. This entire racking system was in fact done by Custom Aquariums. But each tank, again, is going to represent a different area in the world. I'm not going to be doing biotypes. A lot of people keep talking about biotopes. They will be dedicated to certain areas, but to create a certain biotope, you need to keep fish from a very specific region, and the sand from it, and the plants from it, and everything from it. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, they are very bland, very boring, and not very great looking tanks. I want to create something that you can actually be inspired by and want to go home and create yourself. So enough talk, I'm clearly busy, I got a lot to do. But I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video and are as excited about what's to come in the future. And of course, if you're not subscribed to this channel yet, and these are things you are excited to see, please subscribe so you won't miss any of it. I do love sitting in front of this tank.